Hey there, welcome to Work in Progress, a how-to series that's meant to help you with everything from prepping for a job interview to boosting your confidence or negotiating a raise. Here's today's question. So we know that networking is really important for your career, but sometimes you're not going to know everybody, or you're not going to have someone who's a friend, family member, colleague, whatever, and be able to introduce you to someone. That's when cold connections come in. A cold connection is someone who you've never met before and you maybe don't even have any shared connections with. So therefore, the first time you reach out to them, it's going to be what we call cold reach out. Well, cold connections are really great, and you're probably going to find a lot of them on LinkedIn. But before we talk about how to actually add cold connections on LinkedIn, let's talk about the etiquette. You know, there's a couple different opinions about what you should do with reach outs on LinkedIn. I'm personally a fan of reaching out to people that you don't know, as long as you do it in a polite and professional way. And what that means is making sure that you always tell them a little bit about who you are and why you want to connect on LinkedIn. If you do that, the chances of them denying your connection or not wanting to reach out are a lot slimmer. So let's talk about how to actually go through the steps of adding those cold connections on LinkedIn. Okay, when you're adding cold connections on LinkedIn, the first thing you want to think about is who do you want to connect with? And usually what I like to do is think about the target companies or industries that maybe people who would work in would be helpful for me later on. Whether that's having an informational interview, maybe I'll run into them at a conference or an event, or maybe I'll want to apply to a job at their company. So when you're thinking about who to reach out to, start by thinking about what companies are in the same industry, or companies you really admire, or companies you even maybe want to work at one day. And then go and find people in the companies that maybe work in the same department as you, or people who just have jobs that you think are really interesting. Those are a good place to start on LinkedIn, and find them and then add them as a connection by adding a note first. So when you find those cold connections on LinkedIn that you want to add to your network, you're going to hit connect and make sure that you also include a note. The note is where you're going to make sure that you're following those etiquette rules of being polite and professional. Give them a heads up about why you're connecting with them. And sometimes you might even want to make sure that you read through their summary or the rest of their profile, because they might say something in their summary like, hey, I'm happy to connect with people I don't know, just tell me who you are first. I definitely have seen that. And sometimes in their summary, they'll say, I don't accept people I've never worked with before. So just reading their summary first will give you a little bit of a heads up. Now, when you do include in your note, you want to keep it short and sweet, and here are some examples of what I would say when I reach out in a note. Okay, so here's a quick example of a note that I would include. I would say, hi Charlene, my name is Lauren and I work as a content director for a production company in Portland. I'm a fellow University of Oregon alum and would love to connect with you. Thanks, Lauren. What you're really trying to do here is make sure that your note is short and concise, but it needs to be relevant to them in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you guys work in the same company or the same industry, you attended the same school, or maybe you are both going to be attending an upcoming event. Something I love to do is before I go to a conference, I like to see who's attending the conference, and I'll send LinkedIn requests right then and there and say, I can't wait to meet you at the upcoming conference. Again, we just want to be able to show to them like, well, I've never met you before, I'm not some crazy person that you don't want to connect with on the internet. We have something in common, even if we've never met before. Okay, now that you have found who you want to reach out to on LinkedIn and you've sent your LinkedIn request with your note and hopefully they've accepted, the next thing you want to do is to follow up. So the first thing I like to do in terms of following up is when a cold connection accepts my invitation, I like to send them a LinkedIn InMail. So that's the messaging service inside of LinkedIn to say, hi so-and-so, thanks so much for accepting my invitation. I look forward to staying in touch. The next thing that you're going to want to do is maybe go a step further. Maybe you connected with a cold connection who works at your dream company and you want to ask that person for an informational interview. Well, now that you have sent the connection, you followed up, now you can actually go to their LinkedIn profile and either send them a LinkedIn InMail, or you can grab their email address and ask them directly about having an informational interview. The point here is that following up is really, really important because it kind of opens the doors of communication to maybe go a step further and not just say, I want to connect with you, but now I want to actually connect with you in person, over the phone, via email, anything like that. So keep that in mind. Adding cold connections on LinkedIn can really help build your network, and that can really help build opportunities. You just have to do it the right way. And one last thing, we also have free networking templates to help you reach out for informational interviews, let your network know that you're job searching, and more. So go ahead and download these free networking templates.